Welcome to Black Vocals. If you believe in justice, dignity, and stories that fight for the truth, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and join our community. Your support helps powerful stories like this reach the people who need them. The wheels kissed the tarmac at Dallas-Fort Worth, and Staff Sergeant Quentin Ralston finally exhaled. 11 months of dust, orders, and faraway horizons falling off his shoulders. He pictured the drive west toward Weatherford, the ranch he knew like his own heartbeat, the oak he climbed as a kid, his father's porch swing, the barn that still held the ghost scent of hay. But when his truck rolled into the gravel, the world tilted. A minivan sat where his Chevy should be. Children's bikes leaned against his fence. Through the window, curtains he'd never seen. Toys scattered on the floor that used to be his family's. For a split second, he wondered if he'd turned down the wrong road. He hadn't. Every inch of this land was etched into him. This was his home. He killed the engine. Gravel snapped under his boots. The door opened. A woman with a toddler on her hips stared, stunned, like a ghost had stepped onto her porch. "Can I help you?" Quentin squared himself, uniform still on, duffel slung over his shoulder. "This is my house. Who are you?" Her hold tightened around the child. "You're mistaken. We bought this place 6 months ago, through the HOA. The words hit like a blow. HOA. He'd paid every bill, cleared every tax, set every safeguard before deployment so nothing could go sideways while he served. But here he stood, watching a stranger settle a child onto his living room floor. "I'm not mistaken," he said, voice steady. "I'm Staff Sergeant Quentin Ralston. This land's been in my family 3 generations. I didn't sell it, and I didn't authorize anyone who did." "We have the paperwork," she said, uneasy but firm. "If there's a problem, take it you. P with the HOA. Heat climbed Quentin's chest. He'd faced down rifles in villages that echoed, but nothing prepared him for this, the quiet theft of a life. The HOA meant Sylvia Brenner, the iron-fisted president who treated the subdivision like a private kingdom. She once fined him for parking on the grass overnight. His father had grumbled then that Sylvia ruled with a gavel and a grin. Maybe she'd gone further than anyone dared imagine. Quentin left without another word. The road blurred. His father's lessons rose like fence posts along the shoulder. Mend the line, break the horse, protect the land, because they're not making any more of it. His father had kept the ranch through recessions and hard winters. And while Quentin wore the flag overseas, someone signed his legacy away with ink. He pulled into a gas station, hands shaking on the wheel, and dialed Luis Navarro, the kid from 2 miles down, who grew into a sheriff's deputy. "You back?" Luis asked, shocked. "Back," Quentin said, "but apparently without a house." "How?" "HOA. Family's living there now. They said Brenner sold it." "Get to the station," Luis said. "Bring everything. Don't confront anyone. I don't want you in cuffs your first day home." Quentin let out a dry breath. "I just want my home back." "And you'll get it, if we're smart. If Brenner did it once, she's done it before." Determination settled where disbelief had been. They'd taken his house. They hadn't counted on him coming back to fight. The HOA office in Weatherford was a squat brick box between a dentist and a feed store. Quentin wore his uniform for 2 reasons. He hadn't changed yet, and he wanted Sylvia to see it. The lobby smelled like old carpet and stale coffee. "I need to see Sylvia," he told the receptionist. "She's in a meeting. Tell her Staff Sergeant Quentin Ralston is here about the ranch she sold from under me." That got movement. Nut. Moments later, Sylvia appeared. Silver hair pulled tight, glasses low, posture regal at 61. "Well," she said, folding her arms, "I wondered when you'd be back." "You sold my ranch." "Correction," she replied, smooth as glass. The HOA sold it after repeated violations and delinquent dues. You abandoned the property. The board had no choice. I was deployed, he said, stepping closer. Federal law protects service members from exactly this, and my account was current before I left. That isn't what our records show. Then your records are forged. Calm yourself, she said, hand up, voice cool. Raise your voice if you like. The facts won't change. Perhaps speak to your lawyers. Oh, I will. Outside, the Texas sun pressed heavy. Sylvia wasn't rattled. She was confident, too confident. She'd done this before. At the sheriff's office, Luis slid a coffee across to him. I checked the county records. There's a transfer filed by the HOA board. Looks clean on paper. No signature from you. They ran it as a lien foreclosure. A lien on what? Supposed unpaid dues and violations, Luis said. But the numbers are bloated, way bloated. And your payments? County shows you current. So they stole it. Looks that way. And if it happened to you, you're not the first. We've had complaints about Brenner's board before. Nothing stuck. People either settled or walked. Not this time. Handle it smart, Luis said. Go through Army Legal. Service Members Civil Relief Act is your shield. Push right, and you won't just get the ranch back. You'll tear the whole thing down. That night, at his sister Emma's kitchen table in Mineral Wells, chili steaming between them, she clattered her spoon. They sold Daddy's land? I'm getting it back, he said. And I'm making sure they never do this again. Emma's stare burned. If Daddy were here, he'd be flipping tables in that office. They laughed, tired and raw but lighter. Quentin spread a folder. Every receipt, letter, and notice he'd saved. Jag will have my back, he said. When Titso— Hey, dig in! Sylvia's kingdom crumbles! Good, Emma said. I want a front row seat when she carries boxes out of that office. Days later at Fort Cavazos, Captain Renee Whitfield of the JAG Corps scanned his paperwork. You kept excellent records, she said. This falls squarely under the SCRA. HOAs like to assume you're too far away to resist. You're home. You documented. If their books don't match, they're in trouble. I want accountability, he said. If there's a pattern, she replied, we'll prove it. And if it's fraud, they'll answer. By morning, Luis called with news. 3 more complaints since you showed up. Same blueprint. Fees out of nowhere, penalties, foreclosure. Quentin met Franklin Ortega, a grease-handed mechanic, at the diner. They said I owed 10 grand. Franklin muttered into a coffee he held like a life raft. Lived there 20 years. Never missed. Then late fees, interest, penalties. 2 months later, gone. Sold to who? Sold to some Dallas couple, paid cash. Like it was all set up. That evening he sat with the Holbrooks, retired teachers in a cramped apartment they never planned to rent. They said our lawn wasn't up to code, Mrs. Holbrook whispered. Charged us for repairs we never asked for. Then in court we barely understood what was happening. You didn't fail, Quentin told them. They did. And the truth's coming. In his truck under a bruised sky, he gripped the wheel until his knuckles went white. This wasn't strict rule-keeping. It was a machine designed to chew up anyone who couldn't fight back. He texted Luis. This isn't just my fight. Luis replied, then buckle up. No turning back now. Across town, Sylvia convened her board at her polished dining table. We have a problem, she said. Staff Sergeant Ralston is back. He's talking to law enforcement and the Army. Should we reverse the sale? Curtis Doyle asked, voice thin. One reversal and the rest collapse, Sylvia snapped. We hold the line. Records are tidy. If they shout fraud, we point to paper. Unless someone talks, Curtis murmured. No one talks, she said, eyes like ice. Captain Whitfield filed motions to freeze foreclosures pending review. Meanwhile, the diner's back room filled with quiet, angry voices. We thought we didn't have a chance, Franklin said. You do now, Quentin told them. The army's involved. Say the word. We'll protect your statements. Patrice Nolan twisted her hands. My husband's sick. I can't handle another war. I get it, Quentin said gently. But think of the next family. If we speak together, they can't silence us all. Patrice swallowed and nodded. Okay, I'll talk. That night, he parked far from the ranch and stared at the soft porch light through trees. The family inside weren't villains. They were victims, tricked into buying stolen ground. Saint ill, the sight made his chest ache. That was supposed to be his porch, his father's swing. Back in Sylvia's study, a contact from the county whispered over the phone. The army filed an injunction. Let them come, she said. But for the first time, her hand trembled as she set the glass down. Reporters clustered on the courthouse steps like crows on a wire. Inside, anticipation hummed. Quentin sat beside Captain Whitfield. Across the aisle, Sylvia glided in, flanked by attorneys. Whitfield rose first. Your Honor, this is not a story about one house. It's a pattern. Families targeted under false pretenses while a service member was deployed. Our evidence will show accounts current, fees fabricated, and foreclosures forced. Sylvia's attorney countered, slick and practiced. The HOA followed procedure. Mr. Ralston failed his obligations. Records document unpaid dues, violations, lawful foreclosure. Witnesses stepped through. Franklin, Patrice, the Holbrooks. Their details were different. The design was the same. Then Quentin took the stand. I served 11 months in Kuwait, he said evenly. I came home to find my father's land gone, not because I failed, but because someone decided my absence made me easy to take from. By day's end, the judge issued a temporary injunction freezing all HOA foreclosures tied to Sylvia's board. Not victory, yet, but a crack in the fortress. Within days, rumors bloomed online. Anonymous whispers about Quentin's temper, about a soldier not right since overseas. A blog hinted at violence. Quentin stormed into Luis's office. They're dragging my service through mud. It's the Brenner playbook, Luis said. Beat you with gossip if she can't beat you with rules. Don't take the bait. Whitfield called that night. Let them talk. We're filing discovery. If they cooked books, we'll show it. Proof wins. Proof came in a manila folder. Spreadsheet columns where payments marked paid were hit with late fees days later. Letterheads that contradicted ledger entries. They manufactured debt, Quentin said. Across multiple families, Whitfield answered. That's fraud. At the diner booth, Quentin spread the papers. Luis whistled. Not just Brenner. The board's neck deep. Maybe county eyes looked away too. Good, Quentin said. Let it all burn. Across town, Sylvia stared at the same numbers. Her attorney, Mark Talbot, wasn't calm. Army lawyers will make this simple for a jury, he said. If they show it's fraud, charges follow. Then we find a scapegoat, Sylvia snapped. Curtis signed most of finance. But Curtis Doyle was done. He called Luis. I can't carry this, he said. Brenner told us to target the vulnerable, deployed elderly, families drowning in medical bills. I have emails, memos. If you protect me, I'll testify. The next day, Curtis slid a thumb drive to Quentin and Whitfield. Everything, he said, shaking. She knew. She gave the orders. Quentin's jaw tightened. Easy to push. That's how she described them. When word leaked that a board member flipped, the HOA meeting turned feral. Where's our money? Someone shouted. The gavel fell, but authority didn't. By midsummer, the Department of Justice rolled into Weatherford with subpoenas and quiet voices that didn't need to shout. 12 families identified, homes resold under market, then flipped for profit. HOA abuse shading into conspiracy, maybe racketeering. Emma met Quentin at the door that night. You look like you're carrying 10 men. Every time we dig, it's worse, he said. Daddy always said land reveals people, she answered. Some protect it, some exploit it. Now we know which she is. In Sylvia's dining room, Talbot leveled with her. The DOJ isn't playing civil anymore. If you don't cooperate, prison is on the table. I built this neighborhood, Sylvia hissed. They should be thanking me. Cheryl, the last loyal board member, looked away. For the first time, Sylvia sounded less like a ruler and more like a cornered animal. Whitfield called Quentin. They want your testimony in D.C. Your case can set national precedent. I didn't ask to be a symbol, he said. You didn't, she replied. But you became one, and symbols protect more than one home. At the next hearing, veterans lined the steps with flags. Inside, federal findings stacked like lumber. Fraudulent ledgers, forged penalties, choreographed sales. Under cross-examination, Sylvia's voice thinned. The emails, hers, were too clear. The mask slipped. The courtroom bulged with neighbors, reporters, and families who'd lost everything. Benches creaked. Breath held. The judge entered. This court, he said, voice steady, has reviewed the financial records, the testimony of homeowners, and the internal communications of the HOA board. The foreclosures under Mrs. Sylvia Brenner's direction were fraudulent, predatory, and illegal. The court nullifies the sales. Titles will be restored to the original owners. Mrs. Brenner and complicit board members are referred to federal prosecutors for charges including fraud, conspiracy, and abuse of power. Silence cracked into cheers. People cried openly. Veterans saluted. Quentin sat motionless for a heartbeat, staring at the bench as if to anchor the words. Then Emma's hand wrapped his forearm. You did it, she whispered. We did, he said. All of us. Outside, microphones crowded close. Quentin raised a hand. I'm not here to celebrate me, he said. I'm here to celebrate justice. This was never just one ranch. It was about families told they were too small to matter. Today proves they do. In the weeks that followed, prosecutors filed charges. Curtis accepted protection and agreed to testify in the criminal trial. News anchors debated HOA power. Veterans groups amplified the SKRA. Quentin spent his days walking fence lines, mending breaks and letting the land breathe. Strangers stopped by with handshakes and stories of their own fights. He didn't have every answer, but he listened. One evening, golden light poured over the pasture as Emma settled onto the old swing. You're more than a soldier now, she said. You're a voice for folks who never had one. I only wanted to come home, he said. Sometimes coming home means fighting for more than yourself. The cameras vanished. Headlines cooled. But the lesson stayed sharp. Silence grows injustice. One voice, armed with truth, can tear it down. So when another veteran called weeks later, his HOA threatening foreclosure during deployment, Quentin didn't hesitate. He picked up. Because this was never just about Weatherford. It was about making sure no service member, no neighbor, ever returns to find a life stolen. As the porch swing creaked and fireflies stitched light in the dusk, Quentin felt it at last. Peace. He had come home not only to his land, but to his purpose. If this story moved you, subscribe to Black Vocals and turn on notifications. Share this video so more families learn their rights and their power. Together, we protect what matters.